Hi everyone, welcome to Brand Boutique Elite Speaker Series. Today we have a special guest and one of my good friends, Joamil Rodriguez, the founder of Laced Boston. It's a sneaker shop and he does amazing things. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you for talking to me and having me on. It's always fun when we link up.
Yes, for sure. So Joamil and I met how many years ago? Maybe like 3 years ago
Maybe
now?
3 years now, yeah.
Maybe longer actually, because it was the beginning. So I started Reina Valentina, an online women's clothing store, and we were both asked by another brand to be in a fashion show together. This was one of my first fashion shows for this particular brand, and I knew like the name Laced and we go to the same gym. And so there was this guy that was always in the ring. So I could go to a boxing gym and they have kick classes and things like that. And so I used to be in the 7 a.m. class and I would, be going around in like the different stations. And this guy is just in the ring doing his own workout, like killing it by himself. And he always had these lace shirts on. And so I'm like, he's continuously wearing it, which is amazing branding, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, you
And
gotta
so,
be your own number one fan.
yeah, for sure. And so I walk up to you and I was like, so, by the way, like, I'm doing this show with you, I believe. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty random to say, but an awesome way to meet because I think we both got to meet respectively doing like our own thing. It wasn't just how you doing and kind of casual. It's like we got business to do. So that was a great way to start the relationship.
Yeah. And so then every day after my 7 a.m. class is done, we would hang out and go over like marketing tips. We had our like marketing mastermind.
Mind you, this is ringside.
Ringside. Next to boxing gloves and we're sweaty.
Yeah.
But that like was my favorite thing, my favorite way to start the morning. Like get in a good workout with some good music, hang out with some cool people and do like a little mastermind. And like okay, let's do this. Oh, do you know this person? Oh, do you have a connect for this? So it was really like COVID
Yeah.
messed up our whole
There was
session.
some. Yeah. There's no wrong time or bad place to network. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So tell us a little bit about Laced Boston and how you got into the whole sneaker game.
So I'm gonna give you the short version because the long one last time took 35 minutes.
Oh,
Um, so I mean, it was kind of like an accident. I always collected sneakers. I always loved sneakers, so I had lots of pairs of sneakers. I wouldn't say I collected them, but I just had a lot, and I enjoyed having multiple pairs, and I enjoyed keeping some kind of on ice or brand new, and then whip them out a year or two later when everyone else ruined theirs. People be like, "Where do you get those?" So I was part of the sneaker culture before it was before it was like a reselling market. Before it was kind of a niche market. It really wasn't a market. It was just like athletic. Like you bought sneakers because you genuinely thought that Jordan shoes would make you a better basketball player. So I'm from that era where we just wore sneakers. It's more of a fashion statement than anything. And then so I was opening a skate and snowboard shop, and my friend kept telling me, "Hey, look, we're partners in Laced, and we're splitting up, so we're either gonna close it or sell it. I think you should take a look." And I was like, I'm too busy. Like I I bit off as much as I could chew. I have like a little store. It's 300 square feet. That's all I really want to focus on right now. And I turned him down 2 times. The third time I got a call, I was driving by Laced on Columbus Ave, and I said, you know what? Let me stop in there and check it out. I went in there. I absolutely fell in love with it. It was 1,800 square feet. It had an office. It had cash register, surveillance. It was turnkey ready. And I saw where they were failing was they're open 7 days a week, but they only open 2 or 3 random days, random hours. And I said, you know what? If I just show up every day and make it more consistent, I should be able to at least cover the rent and break even. Maybe a little history. I was doing real estate at the time, so I felt like I could still manage both, and I could always fall back on real estate if it didn't work out. So I loved it. I wanted to do it, but I was invested in something else, so I needed an investor. So I reached out to some relatives, so a cousin of mine, and he helped out big time. He became invested. I was like a managing partner for a while. Um, after 4 or 5 years, I ended up buying him out, and I just kept going with it. It was still kind of struggling, and then I don't know. We turned a leaf, and here we are. Store number 7 is getting built out as we speak. I'm sitting in it now, so you guys get a sneak peek at what's coming along.
Yeah, I love that you said if I showed up every day and I stayed consistent. That's like, I think, such a big element in any business. And as an entrepreneur, it's about getting up every day and like grinding through whatever you need to get done. And I think that the people that show up and keep at it no matter what, those are the people that succeed.
I agree for sure. People ask me all the time, what's one piece of advice you could give? And I just say, just show up. 90% of life is showing up. You never know what's going to happen when you're there. Might meet the next Farhana. You know what I mean? You might meet, your next networking opportunity. But yeah, you got to show up.
Yeah, for sure. So there's been times where I've literally been called and being like, oh, there's a speaker that is not going to make this event. Can you get on a plane and fly to LA in 2 days to come? And, like flying across from Boston to LA, that's something, and packing and rearranging your schedule, moving clients around, it's all a thing. But like when I get that phone call, it's like, okay, yep, I know that it's an opportunity to like meet more people and take my business to the next level. And so it's like taking those opportunities when somebody might have asked you the third time, but at the third time you were a yes. And that's also kind of a lesson in sales too. So the first time you were like, I don't know. The second time you're like, let me think about it. And then the third time you were like, okay, let's do this. And so people don't necessarily always say yes on the first time, and it takes a couple times.
Yeah. And that's why I recommend people, like, if you want to start a business, don't wait until the right time. Start, because it's a journey, it's a process, so there's so many little things you're going to want to have to do, and one step goes in front of the other, and you have to pick a name, then you have to pick a logo, and you have to do your tax paperwork, and get an EIN number and all the stuff that comes along. If you wait for the right opportunity, till you have enough money, till you graduate from college, to you're already going to be behind by the time you think you're ready. So I tell people, just go ahead and start. However small a step you take is still a step, because it's going to be a long journey.
Yeah, for sure. There's never really any right time for anything. Like, you're never going to have enough. I mean, we live in a culture where we always want more, we always want to excel to more, we always want to be more successful. Our goals keep increasing. And so, like, just that is like a human nature kind of thing.
Sure.
You're never going to be ready as an entrepreneur. Like, you have to get out there and do it. And people are like, oh, are you done for the day? And it's like, I say that I'm done, but I have things to do. Like, I'm never done.
Sure, exactly. You just kind of recharge and keep going.
So so we have a new store that you're in, and I know all the details about it, but I want you to share a little bit about the new location. But I also want you to share about kind of what is the concept of Laced? What makes it different than other sneaker stores? And tell us like about your designs. You not only source products, you also design like really cool custom things.
Yeah, so I mean, Lace stands for Lace. Actually, I bought it with the name already, so it needed to mean something to me, outside of just the name of it itself, right? And there was no reason to start over with the new name. It was been open for 4 years. It'd been pretty credible. People were walking in the door looking for it. So I needed to give it some purpose. So I did an acronym contest online, and I remember pretty clearly it was my friend Marcel. At the time, there was a brand called Society Original Products, and he was a designer and an owner there. And he tweeted, "Living and creating experiences daily." Um, and I thought that was resonated with us the most because that's how I live my life. Always looking for the next experience, and so that kind of translates into the fashion, into the designs. So initially, I started working with designers, and I had no idea how to use like Photoshop. That was like another language to me. So I started sitting in with the designer and, well, what does this button do and what does that do? And then eventually I needed to change the time on a flyer, and he walked me through it over the phone, and I did it, and I was like, all right, well, and I said, well, let me try to make the next flyer. And then, as inspiration sparked, well, you know, what if this design had this? Or so I kind of had to start learning design and how to use Photoshop and how to use, other design aspects, and learn textiles and learn what could actually be done versus what like I wanted to create. What were the limitations and stuff? So a lot of it I just learned hands-on, like I said, showing up and doing it and making my own mistakes. So yeah, I am very hands-on, and when I don't have time or when I feel like, there's somebody smarter than me in the room, I absolutely, or more talented, I absolutely will work with them and work with different designers. And I like to get a fresh feel for things. So we're not on any specific schedule, so I can't tell you I'm on like, summer, spring release schedule. We make things kind of like on spark. If I might have traveled and got an idea, and come back and get on the drawing board and try to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool because you always are coming out with these really interesting pieces. When COVID first happened, you made the T-shirts with the like mask kind of like
Right.
mask in
Yeah.
it, and
Yeah.
I love that. You were
Yeah, I'd
so
like to include. Sorry, cut you. I'd like to improve. I'd like to include function in at least some of the products. For example, this mask we made. The masks when they go over my ear, they hurt. So I created this style that don't have to go over your ear, and when I'm not wearing it, I don't have to look for it in my pocket. It's just hanging here. So yeah, I'd like to include functionality into the designs.
Yeah, I definitely. So you were one of the first people that had posted, or one of the first people that were kind of doing something that was functional like that. Like everyone was so freaking out and trying to like do their homemade like mask things, and you came out with this like shirt, and I was like, good job. I'm always so proud of you when I see like your designs. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And even that mask that you created, some people it hurts their ears, some people like makes their ears stick out like Dumbo, like some people feel uncomfortable with it like strapped on, some people have like wider faces.
Right.
My friend the other day, he forgot his mask and he's, do you have one? And all of my masks are really feminine.
Yeah. Very pretty.
And so I had like one plain black one, and it was like super small on his face, like it didn't fit, like his ears were sticking out, and I was like, oh, sorry. But like the one that, and I told him about your mask. I was like, oh, you have to get the lace mask because they're not over your ears, and it's definitely going to like make it way better for you. I also like, really love that like you come out with like different pieces that are going to be interesting, like the rain jackets that you just created. It's fall in New England, and everyone needs kind of like a light grow. And I think just in general, we're getting warmer winters these days.
Yeah.
Warmer falls at least, and so like a windbreaker kind of fall jacket is awesome.
Yeah, and that came out of necessity. I went boating, and it's like, you know what, I need a nice little like windproof light jacket. It gets a little bit chilly when you're on the boat, and but you want to have something you could layer up, and the first one was like the color of my boat, and then so I didn't end up making that color because not everyone's gonna love that, but I think everything comes from some type of inspiration of something I'm doing or I have done or I've seen. without like imposing on someone else's like, full on design. Like I'm not gonna, you know, copy someone's design, but if Lace is a lifestyle brand, so if I need things for my lifestyle, I'm not gonna wear someone else's brand when I can make my own.
I love that it's actually a boating jacket. So it was marketed as a rain jacket, but I love that it came from boating jackets because I've also spent summers on Joamil's boat, and I have a white like windbreaker jacket, and everyone's like, "What is that good for?" And I'm like, "It's my boating jacket."
Right, it's so necessary. You don't realize it till you need it.
Yeah, like you need something, and even just to protect you from the sun a little bit,
Sure.
still lightweight, a little bit of breeze.
You get it.
So tell us, if there's tons of people that are trying to get into the sneaker business, the t-shirt business, what does it really take to succeed? Because the market is so saturated, and I see so many brands start up, they have this great idea, or they have a idea, and it's just another t-shirt, it's just
Yeah.
another thing. What would you say to those people that are trying to start out and do their thing? Like, what should they have in place? What should they have thought about before they kind of step into the ring fully?
Well, first and foremost, if they started, that's a great step because you have to start somewhere. All right. So by the time they've released even their first T-shirt, they've already been through the process of choosing a name. Um, I would imagine choosing what that means to them, finding someone to source their product or to print it or to make it. Have gone through some sort of design process. So those people are well in on their way. You know what I mean? And if you haven't got there but you want to do it, those are some of the things you're going to want to think about, and start there. Sneaker reselling I don't know, it's fairly easy to do. We promote entrepreneurship through our stores. We have consigners that bring in brand new unworn products for us to sell, and we pretty much act as their agent. So you could, in essence, get the new Jordan or new Yeezy that releases on a Saturday morning. Um, by Saturday afternoon, you could have dropped it off, and we'd be reselling it for you, and you'd make a profit. We'd make a profit. So in essence, it's kind of like you could have your own business, and we've got consigners as young as 12 and 13 years old, and then full-on adults, who do this regularly. So it is profitable. Obviously you have to figure out the challenges. How you're going to get the connect. Do you have a cousin that works at Foot Locker? Do you have a bot, they call it, which is like a software program that helps you check out online faster? Or do you have 5 laptops at home and you want to just, figure out how you can strike when it's hot? So there's multiple methods of doing it. I urge everyone to do it because, hey, if you can't sell them, we can. We always need the product, and let us do the hard work, and you just buy it, and we'll flip it for you. So getting into the sneaker game isn't as difficult as people would think. And you could sell these stuff on marketplaces online. You could sell them on StockX, on Facebook. On I've seen people sell them on OfferUp. So it just there's no wrong way to sell sneakers, and there's a demand for them for sure.
Is there any particular sneakers is it kind of like every season, every month, there's like a different hot sneaker, or is there?
Sure, absolutely. Sometimes several times a month, for sure. Yeezy's pretty consistent with releasing something every month. Jordan maybe twice, 3 times a month will release something retro, which is really their popular products. Um, and then you'll have like the Adidas is doing Star Wars collabs or very small niche like collections. There's always a new sneaker dropping. It's like music. Like just like you can always expect new music to release. There's always going to be new sneakers dropping.
If people do want to do this like whole consignment thing, is there particular sizes that they should buy, or is it kind of like,
I've noticed women and Smaller sizes sell are the most popular sizes, probably like 5 through 8. I think it's a combination of kids fit that size, women fit that size, and then men with smaller feet also fit those sizes. So um, and men and women make up a huge portion, a huge market share of the people who buy sneakers, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Women do tend to shop more, and they also like buy for their significant others as well too.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like a deal to them.
What do you mean it looks like a deal to them?
I don't know. Women have no problem dropping $400 or $500 on sneakers. I think men overthink the situation. Women are like, "Oh, this is cheaper than my Louboutins." Absolutely.
Yeah, so I guess that makes sense. So tell us about the new store slash sneaker museum.
So the concept is, so we're opening a store in Copley Place on the first floor, next to Saks Men's, which is previously was Barney's. So this space is huge, first of all. So I needed a place or a way to kind of fill it up, and or how I was going to make it work. So I partnered up with the gentleman from the Sneaker Museum. It's kind of like a collection that he's had since the 80s. He's collected tons of Jordan and Nike memorabilia. None of it's for sale. It's all just his personal collection. He has a giant warehouse full of this stuff. Um, so we're gonna do rotating installations. Telling a little history of sneakers and pop culture, especially pop culture at the time, or for the theme of the shoe. One I guess I could give away is like, we'll do a Jordan, maybe a story of Jordan, so different Jordans. Jordans 1 through, I think he's up to like 35 or something like that right now. So each one has a story and why. Um, and he was very hands on with the design. So some mean have specific meanings to them, which are cool to tell people the story, right, of something retro. Like you might just think, all right, I like that black and red Jordan, as opposed to that's the black and red flu game Jordan, famous for Jordan 12, famous for he wore it when he had the flu and he had to play in a championship game, and he like crushed it. And he scored tons of points, and forever that shoe was like was famous. And so things that like that are really what we plan to do here is create that full experience and have people understand and learn about the product and see some really cool and rare streetwear and sneakers and just have a full experience. Like we really want this to be our graduation into like being a world recognized brand.
Yeah, I think the concept is awesome because that whole like museum, because I think like retro and all of the kind of throwback stuff, they all have such interesting stories, and I think a lot of people do care about finding out what that is, or maybe they knew what it is and they see the item and they're like, oh, and so it makes it, I think, great for sale purposes, also destination location for people to come and be like, oh wow, like this is super cool.
Yeah.
The space is awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I want people to be fully immersed in the experience when they come in.
And there is potentially going to be event space there.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think right now my focus is opening the retail and sneaker museum portion, and there'll be room to grow for other types of things, especially as as restrictions with COVID reduce and we'll see what time brings. But I think there'll be a lot more opportunities. We're pretty much known for our cool events, from meet and greets to fashion shows, to private parties. I think that's kind of synonymous with our culture, with sneaker culture, with skate culture, and just laced in general. So yeah, definitely you'll see some cool stuff. Just stay tuned.
Yeah, I love those marketing stunts that you do with, like, having different meet and greets with, people that are popular in the community, fashion shows, events. You always have like really great performances, dancers, musicians, things like that. And so it is very much a lifestyle brand. It is very much like, people coming together, buying, purchasing the things that they like, and then actually, going forward and, like, living this lifestyle and joining you on, the journey. Who were some of your guests? Like, you've had tons of meet and greets. So who are some, well-known guests that you've had?
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar's been here twice. Well, to both our Columbus and Mass Ave locations. French Montana, Machine Gun Kelly, um, Talib Kweli, um, AZ. I mean, we can go like a full range from like underground, but all the way up to mainstream. But I think what the magic of it all really is how many local talent um, and how many lesser known artists we've opened our doors to and had opportunities to work with them before they were huge. Like the first time Kendrick Lamar came to the store, maybe 10, 20 people showed up to the meet and greet. No one knew who he was. Same thing with Chance the Rapper. And then all of a sudden, they reached some plateau or they're huge, and I probably couldn't even get in touch with them now if I tried. So, I think it's cool to see the progress, and then to be inclusive and in that same space, have a local artist, have their listening party or album release kind of event at our stores. We've done so many different ones, and we try to be inclusive of everyone. I think that's kind of like the magic of Lace is that, even though we have exclusive product, we're a very inclusive brand.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you really care about the community and you're always supporting the community. What is kind of like your thought behind it? Like, what's your like vision? Like, how do you? Yeah, I feel like that's like a driving force in what you do. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think what we lack in releases or popularity or other things we make up in community engagement. From working with young entrepreneurs to young students to musicians, photographers. Everyone kind of needs that chance or to prove themselves, and I think we give that opportunity to as many people as we can.
Awesome. And do you have internship opportunities?
We did before. I haven't in a while. We partnered with some colleges. Actually, one of my employees currently came from an internship with Endicott College, and he was so good that we kept him on. And now he's a manager at one of the stores and wrapping up his last year at Endicott business. So I mean, yeah, we do. It's not like a set program, but reach out, send a DM if that's your interest, and I'm sure with 7 locations we can find a place for you. Or,
And are you ever accepting new designers to be featured at your stores?
I'm sorry, it cut out a little bit. Would you repeat that for me?
Are you ever looking for new designers to be featured in your store?
Yeah. Well, honestly, really, what I'm trying to do within the stores, what I do for local designers, I think what worked well for us prior to COVID was the fashion shows. The fashion shows weren't typically laced apparel. They'd honestly be 2 or 3 local brands that wanted to show their apparel, and then we'd find the models, we'd find the place to host it, we'd help with promotion, and in turn, those brands would present their stuff. I don't have enough space. Well, not that I don't have enough space. I guess I shouldn't have said that. But in the stores, I was focusing on my own private label, and we had a lot of inventory. So it wasn't like I could set apart a section for local brands. But I think now moving forward with a lot more space, I think it would make sense to have some type of rotating section, or to work with artists that want to do pop-up shops. I think that's one of the better ways. Yeah, I could put your t-shirt brand in here, right? And if you have two, three styles, three three different designs of t-shirts, right? Let's say for argument's sake, you have five different designs. We have hundreds of t-shirts, right? And it's gonna get kind of lost in the mix. So I urge people to do like a pop-up shop, right? We make this big deal. You have a DJ and you have marketing. You invite people down on this day, and you kind of generate that business and generate that uh, that interest in your product. And then as those relationships grow, and you like, oh shoot, you just crushed it. You sold 100 T-shirts in one day. Maybe we should carry this here. So I urge people to kind of work on it like that, and instead of just me, saying, all right, I'm going to put one T-shirt from every designer in a section, and I hope you like it. Like, I just want it to make sense. But absolutely, I'd love to work with new designers and new artists, and collaborate on cool events, and maybe even some clothing pieces down the line.
Yeah, pop-ups are really a great way if you're getting started, you don't have retail space, maybe you don't have as much traffic to your website. Pop-ups are great because, like you said, you get a DJ, you make it a special event, you promote the event, you get people to come to the event, and then from there, you really can have eyes on you, and you've created this like elaborate thing to happen. And I think a lot of brands are like, oh yeah, I'm going to create this thing, I'm going to come into the store, and then I'm going to try to sell my stuff to the stores, and then stores will go into a company, like into their designer page, and like they have no Instagram posts, their photo shoots aren't great quality, they don't have that many followers, not posting consistently, their website doesn't work, they have a very chaotic feel to things. And so I think for like new brands, you want to make sure that you're doing really good marketing for yourself and doing creative things so that you start building the buzz about your brand before you even approach a well-known store retailer, because chances are like you're just going to get lost in the space unless you're marketing yourself really well. Also, I loved that Joamil said that he helped designers with fashion shows, basically having people be featured in the fashion shows. So, I've been to several of them. They're super fun. So there's always, this cool fashion show, hair, makeup, models, and then there's kind of like performances going on. And so, they're definitely fun and great moments. So hopefully when things get back to normal, we can do more of those.
Absolutely, yeah. It just all comes back down to creating an experience, right? I could just put your clothing here, or we could have it, and be coming down a runway at a nightclub with a DJ and, a performer and a hip hop ballet dancer, and like you said, all the fun that goes into, backstage and doing your hair and doing your makeup, and it just can be so much more. And I think I want like brands to kind of expand on that. I think local brands have every opportunity to do that on their own. They can find a venue, especially nowadays that isn't doing so well, and you can do these things on a smaller level, not on a smaller level, but with less people just because of restrictions, and still get a really good opportunity to show your product. You can do it. You can stream it online. You can create tons of content. You can take photos, create some cool videos, and yeah, I think it'll be a great opportunity for small brands to do so.
So you named a bunch of different like marketing tips and techniques. What are a couple that you find are really effective for your brands?
Um, I'm still trying to figure all that out. I mean, consistency is important. People love visuals, so photos, videos. Um, I'm trying to learn the whole TikTok thing, but I think obviously including music along with the fashion, I think it's synonymous with each other. You see often some of the coolest new gear in these in music videos, and they're wearing the coolest sneakers and whatnot. And the rarest streetwear items, or the coolest new designer. Um, so music, I think, is a great way to do it. And also, it's okay to collaborate and network, right? You might have an upcoming artist from your city or town that that's on his way up making some noise. Maybe collaborate with them. Maybe they'll wear your stuff for the next video, or they'll wear some of your stuff and shout you out online, um, in exchange for some product or whatever. So don't be afraid of those type of partnerships. I think those are very valuable.
Yeah, I love partnerships and collaborations because I think some people feel like more of a competitive spirit or edge. But I find like when you collaborate with people, you're now cross promoting.
Yeah.
People like their fans are now seeing your stuff and vice versa, and you're working together, and so you have more hands, going towards a goal. And
Exactly.
so like, like even when we did like a couple shows together, like we're always giving each other like I'm always like, do you know a person that does this? And so it's like, we kind of are supporting each other in like what we're
Right.
doing. And it's nice to kind of build that kind of network and those kind of friends and that kind of community.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because someone else is doing the same thing as you doesn't mean you can't collaborate. So definitely, reach out, network. That's probably one of my biggest assets.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a fun little question.
Yeah.
If you could be a superhero, what would your two superpowers be?
Mm. I like Bruce Wayne, Batman kind of thing. It's always been my favorite. It felt like a little more personal, and it felt like if I become rich enough, I could probably be, you could be that. So
So what is the superpower that he has?
he doesn't typically have a superpower. He has enough money to be a superhero. So I guess that's where I'm going with it. Honestly, it's yeah, that's all. That's all I really want. Or maybe even just have the opportunity to be able to charm people, to be wanted or respected, and I think that's more important than a superpower, and it's kind of attainable. I think if you do a good job, people will gravitate towards you.
Yeah, cool. So if people want to connect with you, how do they do so?
At least LACED on Instagram and Twitter. You can send me a message at either one. I check those messages pretty often. Um, that that's absolutely the easiest way. Yeah, I'd check the messages personally.
So if anybody wants to connect with Jamil or see what merchandise they have in store, you can go to @laced on Instagram or Twitter and connect. And if you do want to reach out, you can send him a DM there. So I want to thank you all for joining us today. Bye.